The podcast you are about to listen to contains at least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off. Welcome to I Had to Say It, the podcast where I talk about things that I feel need talking about, and sometimes they're not getting the attention they deserve. And your feelings, they're not under consideration. Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of my conversation with the Iceman of Motorcop Chronicles. We had a blast recording, and hope you guys have a good time listening to it.
You ever saying something and you just say something and you just happen to make up a word for it or something, and you thought it was a real word or something? We had a guy one time we were talking about a crash. He's like, yeah. And he said, I think the car lost gription. We're like, what?
What?
Grip. He said, yeah, the car lost gription and went sliding. We're like, talking about like traction, but yep. So that's just a thing now. We still say that today. We're like,
Still gription.
yeah, it lost gription and just went into a slide, Or,
I mean, that kind of makes sense.
and, when you're told rewrite that narrative, you can't put that in your narrative on the report. It's like I had one guy, the ticket master guy, he's retired. Still trying to get him on. He's like, oh, but I want him to come on and talk about his crashes. This dude, he ever comes on, this dude, we don't even know how he's alive. I mean, probably 50, 60% of his face is titanium now from a motorcycle crash. But
jeez,
in one of his narratives, he's like, you can't put that in a report. He's like, why the hell not? This is the officer's opinion. He says, you cannot put down the subject, the subject, is, how do you put it right away? He said, oh, the subject ran into the back of the big yellow school bus. He must have not have seen it. It's like well, what happened is a fucking idiot ran into the back of a stopped school bus. How can you not see the back of a stopped school bus? Oh, this is the same guy that got called in office because he used to have a thing with him about if he pulled a juvenile over, you can try not to write him a ticket, but he was like, he'd ask them what their grades were, if they had bad grades, he'd give them a little, lecture or something like that. And this one time he pulled this kid over for speeding, and he's like, what kind of grades you got, son? He's like, I got D's and, yeah. So he's like, maybe if you wasn't out here driving around like you were retarded or something and doing your studying, maybe you wouldn't have bad grades. We're going to find out this kid was like in special ed class or some shit like
oh
that.
Jesus!
It like really upset him, and he went home and told his mom that the cop called him retarded. Next thing you know, he done got called in the sheriff's office. Like, you call this kid retarded? He's like, well, not technically. I said, maybe if he wasn't driving around like he was retarded, maybe. Like, well, like he semi is. It's like, oh, my bad. It's like,
oops.
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, that one, that won't make you any friends these days.
What, that word? I mean, I don't know. Retardation, I think, is still in the dictionary.
Well, it still is. I'm not saying it should be something you can't say. I'm just saying back then he got a scolding. Now they'd probably,
Oh, well, I had to.
he'd get an administrative vacation, to say the least.
Oh, he'd probably be on CNN now. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, when I started policing in the 90s to where we at now in 2021, I had to relearn how to police because the way I was taught and used to do police work, if we did it the same way we used to, I'm not saying we just went out and beat the shit out of people and stuff, but the way we talked to people, and it was a whole different culture back then than what it is now. I mean, I ended up arresting this bad guy one time, and he got very physical. He was resisting and stuff. Needless to say, he ended up with a 2 or 3 bruised ribs and some stuff like that. And the next day, he was in jail. The investigator, public defender, whatever, showed up. Next day, he's like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "I mean, he was black and blue. I mean, we were in a tussle." And they asked him, they straight up asked him, you want to file a report against me? Basically, you want to file a report against me? The officer for doing this. He's like, nah. He's like, I deserved it. I started it.
Hey,
You think that shit gonna happen now? No,
oh no.
no. They
Now it's I want to write a report against him. I want to report against his boss. I want to write a report against his
Yeah.
mama.
He's like, I started it. It was my fault. So I mean, but that's just, so I had to relearn, basically, teach an old dog new tricks from. It's just a whole different world from what it used to
Yeah.
be.
And honestly, it ain't all for the better. I mean,
Oh no, no, no.
I
I
mean,
believe with the
yeah,
podcast. I mean, I have a podcast and stuff like that, but believe to me, back in the day, everything seemed like it moved slower. It was just people respected each other more, and all this other shit. Now with all this social media, and you got these big tech giants controlling everything. I mean, it's just going to shit.
yeah. Well, I mean, you've listened to the show. You know where I stand on it. It's like, yeah, y'all want a whole lot of respect for not willing to give any, and
Yeah,
all
you
these
got to get
assholes.
it.
They're entitled. They think they deserve shit without earning shit.
Well, kids today think that when they graduate college, whatever degree they get and wokeness or whatever, they think when they go get a job, they should automatically get the corner office with the view. Just because you got the education, a lot of times you still got to start in the mailroom and work your way up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You just don't automatically start at the top. And
Yeah, it's one of those consequences and never learning how to lose when you're playing little league. You
that's
know,
where everybody gets a trophy.
everybody gets a trophy. We're all winners. We all deserve a corner office and
Yeah,
a secretary with no gag reflex and flexible morals.
yeah.
It's
They just don't get it nowadays.
yeah, it's
I'm just. I guess I'm just. I guess I'm just really old now. I don't know.
yeah. Well, I am inclined to agree. I mean, there are some things that are a little better, maybe now than they were then. I mean, I'd like to think to a certain extent. Like I look at my kid and he's a lot more forgiving of the little shit, the shit that really don't matter. And I'm proud of the young man my son has become because he's got a work ethic like I haven't seen in years. That kid, if he wants something, he goes out, he busts his ass until he can get it. And like I said, I'm really proud of the kid. And
Oh man, sounds like you need to be because it's not what a lot of them have anymore.
yeah, I mean, not to say he's perfect. He's kind of an ass. I know that's hard to believe, being raised by me that somebody would come out and be kind of an ass, but
What's that old saying that the apple don't fall far from the tree?
yeah, well, he's definitely got no problem telling you what's on his mind. And, but like I said, for all that, he's a good kid and, he'll go out and work his ass off if he wants something. And like I say, he don't get hung up on the small shit. Whatever it is, if it ain't directly impacting him, he doesn't care. You want to go do that dumb shit? Okay, you're doing it on your own time. Don't expect me to go do dumb shit with you, but have fun. And yeah, like I said, he's a good kid. I'm proud of him.
You lucked out. Well, I will say one thing, Aaron. See, he's one of the lucky ones because he actually knows what I look like now. And there's so many of you out there that do listen on my platform and stuff that don't know. If any with Aaron's people listening, I'm stay anonymous. I don't use my real name, and when I am live, I keep my face covered with a mask or a gaiter or something like that. Because my boss, I do work for a sheriff's office. I'm still active duty, and my boss allows me to do this, which is really rare in law enforcement that I'm allowed to do what I do a podcast and say the stuff I say and stuff like that. And I work for a sheriff's office, so I work for Leisure him, and he allows me to do it, but I stay anonymous and I don't say where I work and stuff like that. So he is one of the few people that's got to see what I look like without having my face covered.
Ha! I'm special,
He's special. He's
and
so
not
special.
the way they used to put on my report cards. I'm the good kind of special now.
It's like he rode the short bus to school.
No, I never got to ride the bus. Actually, I had to get a ride from mom and dad. We lived too far away from the school.
Uh, we rode the cheese box.
Yeah, and then once I got older, I bought a car and was like, yeah, no more of this shit. But
I could go and talk
yeah,
about that forever too. These kids now, they don't care if they get their driver's license or not anymore. That was only I'll free them.
yeah, no,
Now they
I had to convince my son. That's one thing. I mean, he's like I said, he's better now. He's 22 now, but when he was like 16, he had no desire to get his driver's license. I was like, boy, I'm tired of hauling your ass around. You are going to get your driver's license. Well, I don't want to pay for insurance. I said, I will pay for your insurance until you get your own car. When you get your own car, you can pay for your own insurance. I said, but I'm
insurance
tired
is
of driving you.
expensive.
Oh yeah, especially for a teenage boy. That shit was expensive.
Oh yeah. For my listeners, I listen there and every week I look forward to his stuff. I wish I could remember how I came across him. I've been
Yeah, that's a good
listening.
question.
I've been listening for a while. I don't know. I think it was on Twitter or something. I'm not real active on Twitter, but
Yeah, it's possible.
I think I came across your podcast. I think we both belong to some same group on Twitter, some podcast group.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. I'm in a few of them.
And I saw your podcast on there. And when I see things, when I see different ones, I'll go to them and listen. I listened to the first one. I've been listening ever since. So, but
Well,
because I'll be honest, I don't remember names, but there's some, I've went and I'm like, oh, let me check it out. And I'm like, I couldn't get through a whole episode, or I'm
yeah,
like, it's not for me or something like that. I mean, I was trying to down it on nobody because I'm sure there's people that click on me and it's like, I can't listen to this shit, and go on. But it's like, there's some that, and I like listening. I think you call them the indie podcast. We're independent podcaster.
yeah. I'm the same way. I listen to probably, I don't know, 10 or 12 new shows every week. And a lot of them don't make it into my regular rotation. So if I'm listening to you on a regular basis, like I'd listen to you every week. And that's I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass or tell you anything to make you feel good about yourself. It's just the truth.
Or it
You
tickled
know.
a little
Well, got a cup and lift,
bit. Yeah, I'm
but
the same way.
and but I check out a lot of new random stuff too, and that's one of those things is like certain shows now. I can't do it with every show, but I listen to a lot of stuff at like 1.8 speed, 2 times speed. So a lot of stuff starting to sound like the Chipmunks, but it's like I know they're putting out something I'm going to enjoy listening to, but it's like I only got so many hours in the friggin' day, and my list of stuff where it's like I don't want to miss an episode. Now it's like I got certain shows I listen to all the time, and that's like maybe about a dozen because one of the other good things is a lot of the release days are staggered. So like I've got like 5 programs I listen to every Monday. I got like 3 on every Tuesday. I got like 5 on every Wednesday. Then Thursdays, like 2 or 3. It's not as big of a day, so that's more like new show day. And then Friday, usually 5 or 6, and then the weekend is errand time. Weekend is
Well, I listen to most of mine. Like I said, I drive 80 miles a day round trip back and forth to work, and
yeah, me too.
most of the time I usually use my unit for that. So going to work takes me about 45 minutes, so I can usually get one in on that. On the way home, it's going to be an hour or longer, so I can get one. That depends on on rainy, nasty days. I'm working in my unit, and I'll listen to stuff while I'm driving around and stuff like that. When I'm on my motorcycle, not so much. I like to concentrate on what I'm doing. Don't want to get run over again. But
Yeah.
I know whenever yours come out, and I'm not blowing smoke either, and I'm not lying to anybody. When Aaron's comes out, I see it. It pops up in my feed. I'm like, I listen to him on Apple Podcast, and I'll listen when I see his pop up. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna listen to Aaron's right there. But there's like some. I mean, there's some big names out there like I do have in my stuff that I listen to, but sometimes it takes me a while to catch up. I'm still not today. I listen to Dan Bongino, and you know and Glenn Beck and Matt Walsh. I listen to a lot of political stuff like that. I know my wife listens to a lot of the true crime stuff, but there's a couple.
Yeah.
There's a couple police ones I listen to, and I'm not saying their names. There's some other policemen out there, police law enforcement type podcasts that I've tried to listen to, and I just couldn't do it no more. Because I mean, I'll be honest, I've been doing this almost 30 years, and when I'm listening to somebody with a podcast that's not a cop no more, that's got a whole 7 years experience trying to explain law enforcement to people, I'm just like, yeah, what the fuck ever. I'm like, you're still a rookie, and you're not old enough to retire. You only did 7 years, so why aren't you a cop anymore? So I don't know. Come listen to me. I've been doing it 30 years.
Yeah, that's. I'm kind of the same way. I've listened to a few, and like I said, I got my routine. And then, honestly, I said weekends are for Aaron, but that's a lie. Let me be honest. Weekends are for Mama. She tells me what we're doing on the weekends. That's fixing stuff around the house. That's going to the grocery store. That's running errands. That's washing the dog. That's doing whatever the hell it is she says. That usually does not involve me listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
Now, occasionally, I'll get a pass. I like if I know we're going shopping and we're going to be gone for 2 or 3 hours. I've started bringing my headphones with me, and I'll walk around behind her pushing the cart and nodding my head periodically so it looks like I'm paying attention. And yep, sure, and then I hope whatever it is I'm listening to doesn't make me laugh or something, because then I'm busted.
What are you doing? His head spins around, stuff like that. Yeah.
Are you listening to another podcast? No, I'm on the phone. Dad says hi.
I was in an especially bad mood today because of the whole air conditioning thing. Me spending money on air conditioners I wanted to buy tires with and stuff like that. And of course, I've been venting to the wife because she's the wife, she's the best friend, she's there, she's the one that gets it. And today we were out getting this stuff, and she's like, you're on my last nerve. Why don't you shut the hell up? We stopped at Arby's drive-through, which I know is not the healthiest, but we're freaking hungry and been working all day, and it's like cooking or nothing. So I asked the girl in the drive-through if they accepted used wives for, trade on food, and the drive-through girl said no, that the freezer's filled up with husbands already. So she had a good sense of humor. But I've been on a rant today. I mean, I got in a bad mood because I had to go buy window units, and I wanted tires for my car. I just want to drive my car. I can't. My tires are on the back of my car, my POV, it's my personal vehicle. I can't drive it because the tires are too bald.
Oh, they're slicks.
And my car does not have a spare tire. So if I go somewhere that's getting flat, I got to call a tow truck. And it's just
Yeah.
so the tires for my car, are supposed to have run flats. I don't drive it enough to put run flats, but the tires, if I replace the original tires on it, it's like $600 a tire, and I'm just not going to do that. But I wanted tires for my car. I'm looking at me, I'm crying about the tires on my car.
Yeah, that's one of those signs, I guess.
I just want rubber.
I need to lay some rubber, darling.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like I said, that's on my list too. I'm gonna go as thrifty as possible because I still got way too many projects around the house that I started because of COVID that are mostly done. Like the house is livable, but like we replaced the floors, but I haven't put any of the trim back down yet.
Well,
that's the big one.
I'm just looking at you in your basement, and I think basements are cool because I've grown up all my life basically in Louisiana, and
y'all don't really have basements.
We can't. We call those swimming pools.
Yeah,
we are below sea level. When we dig shit in the dirt, it usually fills up with waters.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Kind of like we were talking before we started recording. I mean, they're at a balmy 70 degrees where he lives. I mean, that's like winter. I mean, We hit 92 degrees today with freaking humidity that you wouldn't believe.
And the funny thing is, you say 70 degrees like it's winter. I had the windows down when I was coming home. I had my sunglasses on. I was jamming out. I was like, y'all act like that's cold.
No, that's actually very comfortable, but
Yeah.
it's like no, I had a rain suit on coming home because I came home on my motorcycle and praying to God. I was like, God, I hope it don't rain because my feet are gonna get wet. My sock, I just don't feel like getting wet this afternoon. Of course, there's a good chance tomorrow. I'm going to do about 16 hours tomorrow doing escorts, and I think it's a 40% chance of rain tomorrow. So there's a good chance I might get a little wet there. So
Man, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you.
it's gonna be a long day. My buddy is tailgating, so I'm sure he'll be cooking. He didn't tell me what he's cooking this time. I'm hoping they go with a pasta lie or something. Haven't done a pasta lie yet, so I'm really hoping they do that. They did a jambalaya one of the games, and they did some pork chops and stuff the last game. I'm hoping they do some pasta lie or something
That'd
in
be
his
good.
in his black iron pot.
Yeah.
Is the funny
Sorry.
part is with the hurricane, with the linemen and stuff that just came down, replacing all our electricity lines. There's a lot of people, a lot of Yankees come down from up north, and
Yeah.
it was funny because one of them was talking, and some wife got on Facebook. They had made some Facebook group. And she's like, I don't know what y'all gonna do, but my husband keeps talking about all the food and stuff down there in Louisiana. She says, I don't know where to get one of them Louisiana cauldrons at. So it's a cauldron, like it's a big witch's brew. And it was funny
Yeah.
because I did learn. My husband did tell me that you know locals use Tony Sassery season, and uh, visitors use Slap Your Mama. And if you ever buy somebody a Sonic drink, that's saying that I love you.
Yeah. Although I like both. I like Tony's and I like Slap Your Mama. Depends on what I'm doing. You know?
We kind of use Tony's for everything.
Well, yeah. I, but now that because they got two different kinds of Slap Your Mama too, though. A lot of
Yeah,
people don't know that. You got to
they
get
got
the red.
salted, non-salted.
Yeah, but you got to get the red one. Don't get the yellow one. Get the red one.
Get the green can of Tony's.
Yeah, and the green can of Tony's. I got one of the industrial size green cans of Tony right now. Well, actually, I should say I probably got about a quarter of an industrial size green can of Tony's. I gotta go grocery shopping again.
They sell that up there.
Amazon, brother, you can get
Oh,
anything on
oh,
Amazon.
okay. I was just
I
checking.
mean,
It's like they
now,
sell it in those grocery stores.
well, you can get the mild Tonys at the grocery stores around here, but it's in the specialty spice section.
Oh, especially that's just like normal shit here,
Yeah, no,
uh,
it's
like Tabasco sauce.
oh yeah, that's another one I got. I that's another one of those things I get in trouble for because if I see something that looks cool, I will buy it just to try it. So I've got probably 15 or 20 different bottles of hot sauce in my cabinet right now, and I got like 5 different flavors of Tabasco that yep, I don't think they even make a couple of them anymore. But like I went to trade shows and stuff, and they're like, "Here, sample our new product," and I'm like, "Sweet honey chipotle Tabasco." That sounds good. I don't think that one ever even made it to the shelves.
Well, what's funny down here, it's like they take kids on, like they take younger kids on field trips and stuff. One of the
Hmm.
places they bring the kids to field trips from the schools is to Avery Island, where they make Tabasco sauce. That's like a field trip for the kids to the Tabasco.
I'd go on that. I entered a contest to get to go to Avery Island. So
It's like it's just a field trip.
yeah, I mean, it was a couple years back. They were doing a recipe competition through Tabasco, and it was like if you're one of the winners, one of 10 chefs will be selected to go to Avery Island and participate in making blah 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 blah. And I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then my wife, being a little more practical than me, she's like, "Is there a prize?" I'm like, "Well, no. You get to go to the Tabasco place and watch them make Tabasco sauce, and you get to eat dinner with all these famous chefs." And she says, does it say cash value of the prize? I'm like, yeah. She goes, okay, you got to pay taxes on that, dummy. Like, she's like, you're entering a contest to pay money to go have dinner at the Tabasco factory. I was like, yeah, pretty much. So, do they buy you a plane ticket? No.
Oops.
So you're paying money to go to the Tabasco factory to have dinner, and you got to pay to go to Louisiana. I was like, yeah, you don't see the problem here.
No
Like
prize for you.
sometimes she's a little more grounded than I am. I was like, babe, if I go down there, I'll make like a week of it. I'll rent a car. I'll go see my family. You know, she's like, so you're gonna win a prize and spend like $2,000, and then have to pay taxes on the prize too. Uh-huh.
Well,
And
let's talk about prizes. Didn't you told me, I think, before, like, applied for Hell's Kitchen?
yeah, I did a long time ago, like season 2.
Well, I
I
wasn't. I've watched. I don't know if it's still on. Like I said, I got rid of cable because they just pissed me off, and I don't know if they're on now still or not. But
yeah
before that, I watched every one of them. Every one of them.
yeah yeah I watched a lot of them before I gave up on cable a couple of years ago too. But
Well, yeah, I think your personality's probably a little too strong for what they wanted.
that was kind of the impression I got from the rejection letter. It
'Cause
was like, not only do you seem real competent, it don't seem like you're going to get shook if you're getting yelled at. I'm like,
yeah, but that's not what they want. They want people
yeah,
like, "Oh, shit, I just you freaked me out. I just chopped my pinky off."
chef yelled at me and then he told me I was a donkey.
"You called me a cow."
Yeah, whereas me, I just, yes, chef, no, chef. All right. It's like, he's not shaking him at all. And then as soon as service was done, I'd be out in the back. Who does that
Mm,
little motherfucker think I swear to God, if I don't win this fucking prize. And then come back in and be boring ass TV again.
I just trying to I mean, they say reality TV, but come
Oh,
on, man.
it's,
No, I'm pretty
yeah,
much that shit
no.
staged up. I'm pretty much staged up.
Yeah. I mean, it's not exactly scripted, but it ain't exactly real either.
No, they kind of handpick the people they think that's gonna make the best TV. And sometimes I think they're like, yeah, like kick that person off, keep this person because they're making better rating.
Yeah, not to mention if you look at it, how many of those restaurants that the winners got are still, up. I mean, now with COVID, that makes it less fair. But before the world got put on pause, like 95% of those places folded.
Oh,
Or
really? I didn't
yeah,
pay it.
well, I mean, like some of them have like there's like the official Hell's Kitchen in Vegas that because they started just like the winner got to run that restaurant for a year or whatever. I think at some point that's what they changed it to. Because initially, like the first couple seasons was like, well, you get to run your own restaurant under the umbrella of this corporation, and I think the first like 3 or 4 wound up closing within like a year.
Well, I mean, you're
So
taking somebody that used to be you know, a line cook at Piccadilly. You just gave them
yeah,
a 4-star restaurant trying to run it.
yep. Yeah, good luck running this. We're gonna have some consultants to help you for the launch, but after that, you're on your own, Gomer. And yeah, and then although I did love the first season particularly, like they had a couple executive chefs on there. They're like, "Oh, I'm been the executive chef at this hotel in Chicago or this one in Las Vegas," and da, da, da. And then they got Gordon Ramsay like after the initial interview thing, and he's like, "Yeah, this guy comes in and tells me he's been an executive chef for the last 15 years. That means he sits on his ass behind a desk and he hasn't actually cooked anything in a decade." And I was just like, "This is true," but
Um, I'd like to taste one of those beef Wellingtons, though. I will say that.
well, if I ever get down that way, I'll bring you one. How about that? I mean,
Yes, I just that's the only thing. I've had risotto and all that stuff before like that. And I don't know, just risotto's
I,
just not my thing.
yeah, no,
It's got
it's
too much like
fancy rice.
I think I'm eating like baby food or something like that. It's just
Yeah, you're not off the mark. It's creamy rice,
yeah, it's just not natural.
but no, I make a pretty wicked Wellington if I do say so myself. So
And you did tell me that your friend, I guess, got to bring it up because I thought it was hilarious that your friends thought you murdered somebody at one
Oh
point.
yeah, yeah. I was something I mentioned on a different podcast a couple days ago. They weren't really friends of mine. It was more like acquaintances. It was people that were like friends of friends, not people I knew directly. And the guy, like it was this guy was. We got into a little bit of an altercation at a bar one night, and he got pissed off and stormed out and disappeared. I mean, like literally nobody saw him for weeks, and all of a sudden I got people going around talking about this, that, and the other. Oh yeah, well I heard so and so killed him, and I'm like, that's me, you dumb son of a bitch. Because one of the things about that particular period in my life when I was still new to the area, a lot of people didn't actually know my name. Like I had a nickname, and that's what everybody called me because I had like I had some family down here and that was just how they introduced me to everybody. I said, "Oh, this here's Arilla, blah 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 blah," and so nobody knew my name was Aaron, and so all of a sudden this rumor starts circulating around. Yeah, I heard some dude named Aaron killed him. Blah blah blah. I'm like, you dumb son of a bitch! I'm Aaron. I did not kill him. And that particular circumstance actually led to a lot of like kind of funny little interactions. Not the killing the guy thing, but people not knowing that I belong to my name because
I didn't
like
kill him. I just knocked him unconscious and threw him in a corral full of pigs.
no, it was a quarry, but
So it was a quarry with
but
water.
no, yes, water, but no, I mean, the guy turned up later. Before we knew what happened to him, like a few years later, I found out okay, he's not actually dead. But when everybody did think he was dead, my theory was because he left the bar. He was shit faced. So my theory was he went out drunk in his car and wound up driving off the road into this quarry because if he was going where I thought he was going to have to go right past this quarry. And so I was like, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that he just went off the road because the in one spot the road was like 25 feet from the edge of this drop off. I mean, there's a little chain link fence, but that's not going to stop a car if you're in the bag. So I was like, maybe he's at the bottom of the quarry, and y'all need to get off my back.
Maybe he just got 3 years for DWI.
Yeah, but the thing I think is, in hindsight, I think either like he realized he was in a bad situation and was having substance abuse issues or whatever because I mean, or some had a moment of clarity and just decided he needed to get out of that environment for a while because like I said, the guy just disappeared, cut all ties with everybody in that group.
Rehab.
But on the other hand, like I never heard of his parents filing a missing report or anything on him. And let's be honest, with everybody walking around talking about how I murdered this guy, if the cops were looking for him, somebody would have showed up at my door at some point. So the fact that I didn't get interviewed tells me I don't think there was ever any formal report filed. And like I said, the guy's not dead, so it's kind of a moot point. But
I can't say I got accused, but I had some other cops thought I killed this other cop one time way back in the day because I worked with this one guy and he was a lazy fuck and he would dodge calls and he was just lazy and he was kind of scary too, not like scary to us, like just called for backup. Like I got a 4-year-old and I call for backup. I mean, this dude was like 6'5", 6'6". I mean, he was a big ass motherfucker
and shook at everybody.
scared of his own shadow. And
Yeah.
I was going to Disturbance one time and I'm going and I look and this dude's like sitting, like I passed him while he was sitting under a tree or something. Like, this motherfucker. I'm like, and it pissed me off. Well, the dispatcher got the right idea to have us go into the woods together to look for a dead body, which I think the whole dead body thing was bogus. I think he was trying to get us together so we could talk out our differences like grown ups. I realized I was in my mid 20s at this time. I really wasn't that much of a grown up. I don't think you become a grown up until you're in your mid-30s, but your brain just don't work quite right. But
I can second that.
but they sent me in the woods with this motherfucker. So we're walking in the woods looking for a dead body. Like I said, I don't think it ever existed, but we're walking. Well, he looks at me and he's like, "So I hear you got a problem with me." So I'm like, "I'm 6 foot, so he's quite a bit taller than me." I turn around and look up at him. I said, "Yep, I sure do." I said, "You a lazy piece of shit motherfucker who's scared of his own goddamn shadow." And I look up at him in his eyes, and I said, "What the fuck you gonna do about it?" He just looks at me, he kind of puts his head down and walks off because I guess the truth hurts, right? And
Yeah,
and by
sometimes.
the way, and just by the way, he's not a cop anymore. He ain't been a cop in a very very long time, which was good because he wasn't made for the job. But anyway, I said, "Fuck this shit. I'm not getting bit by mosquitoes and stuff." I walked back to my unit. I went 10-8, and 10-8 means back in service. I went 10-8 and went back to work. Well, I'm driving around. Well, they start calling for him on the radio a few minutes later because he didn't go back 10-8. He's not answering. They called for him about 3 or 4 more times and he still didn't answer. Well, the supervisor or lieutenant, we could say at the time, like was like, "Uh-oh." It's like, we just sent him in the woods with me with the Iceman, and now he's not answering his radio no more. And you gotta realize way back in my younger days, I was pretty much of a hothead back then, and you know, and the supervisor actually drove out there looking, and he told me later. He said I was driving out there the whole time thinking, God, I hope he didn't shoot him with his duty weapons. They actually they thought that that we him went in the woods together to look for his dead body, that he said something stupid to me, and I'm just like fuck it, and just capped his ass and left him laying out in the woods for the coons to eat or something like that. But he ended
Gee.
up they found him. But the supervisor told me all this later. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. He said, I thought you killed him. I was like, oh Jesus Christ! He said, I thought you just because. He said, I know how much you hate him. He said, I figured you just shot his ass, get him out the way. I'm like, my God, I'm glad y'all think so much about me. I'm just like cold blooded killing people in the woods and stuff. But yeah, so but I
Yeah,
guess he's still alive, but he's no longer in law enforcement, which is good. But yeah, they thought I killed him.
yeah, it's an interesting feeling, I'll tell you.
I thought
It,
it was
like I
hilarious.
said, yeah, I definitely had a laugh about it, and like I said, that the funny thing is, that kind of stuff happened to me more than once. And I mean, not the I only got told I killed somebody once, but like I said, I had a lot of people when I in my early to mid 20s that I had a reputation, but I had a lot of people that didn't know I belonged to it, like because I mean, I telling these stories. I always feel kind of like I'm, sounds like I'm full of shit, but it's. I wish I would have had a reality TV show back in the day because nobody believes this shit now. And it's like I had this reputation because same guy then I am now. I didn't take a lot of shit, but I was about I don't know 110 pounds lighter than I am now, and a lot leaner. And so if you got on my nerves, I have a little bit of a temper. I didn't get in a lot of fights, but I had a bad tendency of bitch slapping people, and mostly for saying or doing something particularly stupid, like telling me they were going to kick my ass. That was a real solid way to get slapped. And then I would give them an option, like, okay, while you're down there, you can either shut up and stay down there for a few minutes till you had a time to think about what you did, or you can get up and get your ass whipped. And for the most part, they stayed on the ground and thought about what they did and how they wound up there. And so that kind of information just sort of traveled in this little social circle of all these degenerate assholes that I had found myself hanging out with, and, like going to all these different house parties and stuff because I was new in town and I didn't know anybody. So it was like I met a friend of a friend, and next thing you know, I'm at some house party where I paid $5 for a cup of piss warm beer. And, I'm sitting in a corner not having a good time because I don't like stupid people. And by and wide at these parties, it was like guys in their early 20s who couldn't get girls in their early 20s. So they'd be like inviting high school kids over. And as soon as the teenagers showed up, I'd be like, all right, I'm out of here. Fuck y'all. Like, I don't need to get a ticket for contributing to the delinquency of minors. I don't need any of this shit. I don't need some underage girl telling me that she's 22 trying to come back to my apartment. I don't need none of the bullshit that comes with this. Y'all are stupid. And I would leave. So I developed a bit of a reputation as like, A, don't fuck with him, and B, he doesn't have time for your bullshit. And then my kid brother got out of the service, and so he kind of starts going around and meeting some of the people I know, and then from the people I know getting introduced to the same bunch of assholes. So he starts going to these stupid house parties, and by that point I'd kind of washed my hands of the whole situation. I'd met my wife and was more or less hanging out with her at that point. And I had to go find him one night, and I get to the door of this house party, and there's this little pencil neck kid that if he was 21, I'm 37 at the time, and I was like 24. I was like, you're like 12, kid. And I get up to the door, and I'm like, hey, I'm looking for somebody. Get out of my way. And he looks at me. He's like, you ain't coming in unless you pay. And I looked him up and down. I said, you're the one working the door? And he's like, yeah, you ain't getting in this place unless you give me $5. I said, I'm not giving you $5 so I can come in there and tell my asshole brother not to bring anybody back to the house tonight because I got to get some sleep because I got to get up in 5 hours. Get your little narrow ass out of my way. And this kid looks at me dead in the face and says, man, I don't know who you think you are, but you must not know about Arilla and Marco and Matthew. We gonna fuck you up. Now, that's my god brother, my brother, and me. And I know for a fact my god brother and my brother are in this fucking party because this kid just told me they're there and they're gonna fuck me up if I try and come in. And my god brother's like 6'4". He's a big, tall cat. So I see him come walking through the back of the party, like over the little door weasel's head. And I'm like, Marco, come here. Come here. And I call him over, and he comes walking, well, what's going on, baby? Da, da, da. All excited to see me 3 sheets to the fucking wind. And all of a sudden it dawns on this little kid who's working the door, who exactly he's just been threatening. And he's like, wait, you're yes, that's me. Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I did not know. I did not mean any disrespect. I just figured you were a big guy, and I didn't want to have no problems. I thought if I said I was you, that maybe you wouldn't give me no grief. And I was like, if you don't get your narrow ass back in that house, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Can I get you a cup, sir? Can I get you anything? No, I just told you I'm not coming in to drink. I'm coming in to tell these assholes not to bring anybody home and be all loud because I got to get up in 5 hours.
Give me $5.
No, that's what my kid. He says, how much money you got? I'm like, dude, you are not robbing the door, kid. No, it's not robbery. It's a tax. That's for being stupid. Here, go get some Wendy's on your way home. I'm like, you just robbed a door kid to give me money to buy Wendy's. He's like, yeah, you're a dick when you're hungry.
So did you need a Snickers bar?
No, I got a Baconator.
That commercial.
Yeah, no, you're not you when you're hungry. No, I'm more me when I'm hungry. That's part of the problem.
I'm not hungry. I'm hangry.
Yeah, so, pretty much.
I get like that too. I get too hungry. I start getting hangry.
Yeah, pretty soon.
You gotta hurry up. That would be his wife telling him you better hurry the fuck up.
More or less, yeah. So you're gonna be done soon. You coming up? You're gonna watch TV?
Yeah, I'm surprised my wife ain't coming the other way. We have been talking for a while.
Yeah,
I gotta say,
a couple 3 hours. Yeah.
Well, we've been recording for almost
an hour 40.
Yeah, because I actually stopped and started a different one so I could do 2 parts.
Yeah, I'll do that after the fact.
I don't like editing much.
I don't think anybody. Well, actually, that's a lie. I do know somebody who likes editing, and I was just like, when he told me, I was like, you're a sick fuck.
You need somebody that actually enjoys editing.
Yeah, he says it's enjoyable for him. He likes playing with it, and
Oh my God,
that's just like,
that's the most tedious, pissing me off thing ever is trying to edit shit. It's like, no, I don't even do it anymore.
yeah. I mean, I clean up a little bit, like if I'm particularly when it's stuff where it's just me. It's really I say a lot when I'm just talking to myself. I say it a lot when I'm talking to other people too, but I say it even more when it's just me, and I'll start going over my own thoughts. I'm, so I take all that shit out because nobody wants to hear me say 47 times in one episode.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said right a lot. It wasn't anything to do with the podcast, but I was having a conversation with, and we were talking about some stuff, and they probably said right about, and I actually started almost counting because we were talking about something. I'd say something, he'd be like, right, and I'd say something else, like, right, and I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I got to the point where I'm thinking to myself, I won't say nothing else because he's gonna say right. And I'd say something, and he'd say, yeah, right, and I'm like, oh, I gotta stop talking, Steve. He done said it like 50 times.
Yeah, yeah.
I like it when people are it's like, you know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, I do because you just said it and I heard you say it. So unless I'm deaf or dumb, I know what you're saying. Or
Yeah.
people say a lot, you hear me? You hear me? I had a friend that used to say that all the time. I'm like, dude, do you see hearing aids in my ear? I'm not fucking deaf.
I
I heard
heard.
you. You don't have to ask me if I heard you. If I didn't hear you, I'll ask you what. Or repeat yourself, okay? Stop saying that shit.
I used to work with a guy that you heard. I'm like, yes, motherfucker, I have. I heard.
One of my biggest pet peeves is being called chief. I
Yeah, I
hate
get
being
that.
called
Yeah.
chief. Do I look like an
I
Indian? Do you see feathers in my hair? No. Stop calling.
I get Chef. Hey, Chef, what are you doing?
Is it, hey chief? Or if I get one and say, somebody calls everybody Sarge that's in uniform or boss, pretty sure they did time somewheres, okay? That's
Well,
usually a pretty good
I don't
thing.
know. I call a lot of people boss.
Well, out here, if they say call you boss or Sarge, usually you're in uniform, they usually did time somewhere. Okay.
Yeah, nah. I've never served any, but I just it depends on the context, like I'll be talking to somebody and be like, all right, boss, whatever you say. Although for me, it's usually more of kind of like, all right,
I
unless
call
I'm talking to my actual boss, which is, yes, sir.
I
Gotcha,
call one
boss.
person boss, and that's the sheriff. It's like, good morning. I'm like, good morning, boss. Whatever, because he is my boss, like for real. So
Yeah, no,
it's like,
that's
I can't be, but people's like, oh, chief, like, I won't even acknowledge you. I can't stand it. I'd rather you say, hey, you dickhead, motherfucker, or something like that than call me chief. I
like,
cannot be.
hey, ass knocker, I'm talking to you.
I'd rather that.
Yeah.
Hey, chief. Like, no, I am not. Do I look like do I look like a fireman? No, I don't. Stop calling me that. I just don't like that.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I mean, I get called chef a lot, which is accurate, But the thing is, I don't even have to be wearing chef clothes anymore because there's a guy at one of the gas stations up the street from my house, and I came in one time wearing a chef's coat, and he realized I was a chef. And literally every time I've seen that man for the last like 6 years, hey chef, how's it going? And I'm just like, yeah, it's going here, 25 on 3. Thank you.
Did you have the hat on?
Nope. You can't. I hate the hat. I hate the hat.
The chef boy.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying I don't have any of them. I got about a half a dozen in my closet. Like within, I could get up and go grab one.
What's the point? What's the point of those hats?
Keep sweating hair out of the food.
But why do they have to be so tall?
Oh, that's more formality. It's old tradition. I'm sure at some point there was a logic to it, and like back in the 1700s or whatever, when hygiene probably wasn't the greatest, probably had some chefs with some big old nasty dreads stuffed up in that son of a bitch or something. But
I just got a visual thought, just like, yeah, yeah. That's like
But
I think Chicago PD or some of these other. They still wear them stupid looking little hats. Like
yeah,
I'm like,
they-
I see them like that. I'm like, fuck, I'm glad we don't have that shit because those are the stupidest looking little hats ever. What's the point in that
mhm.
little hat?
It's a little hat. It's tradition.
It's
I mean,
just, it's like I see them and I'm like, oh God, I'm so glad I never had to wear those.
yeah. Now there are actually some reasons behind, like like the really tall paper hats with all the folds in it and stuff. Like there once upon a time it was based on which hat you wore was based on the skill set you showed, and
Kind of like your seniority or something. Like you're
yeah,
right.
kind of. And
Oh, you only have 4 folds, you rookie.
well, it's like it's supposed to be like there's 100 folds in a full size and a full chef's toque, and it's the 100 ways you can prepare an egg dish and all this other stuff. And there's
Sounds like I just had a flashback of Bubba Gump talking about shrimp.
more or less, yeah. And some of
He's
them,
on
there's no end difference in the result. It's all about the technique and all this other shit. But it's actually kind of funny as far as the kitchen industry is going. It's kind of gone the opposite direction of like a lot of other things. Like you go to like you look at the church and you got the little cardinal hat and then the bishop hat and then you got like the pope with the big fucking hat and I think God wears a sombrero or something. But with kitchens, it's kind of gone the other way over the years. Like it used to be the head chef had the big fancy hat on, and now it's more like if you're the new guy in the kitchen, you're wearing like the floppy white chef's hat. And if you're the guy running the place, you're either not wearing a hat because you don't have to, you're not the one cooking, or you got like, the little chef beanie on or a skull cap or a bandana.
I'm going straight for the hairnet.
Yeah, I don't have enough hair to necessitate a hairnet
Yeah.
anymore, so
How much do you get the AA Ron?
a lot actually. It's kind of
Hey,
tapered.
AA Ron.
It's tapered off a little bit, but that first year where like was it Key and Peele
I don't
did
know.
that?
It's hilarious.
Where you done messed up, Ron.
It's
When that came out, I was working in a club in downtown Chicago. It was a great gig. I really liked my job. I liked my boss. My boss was freaking awesome. But I had an office where I had to go do all my my budgeting and all that crap, and I had my desk job and I tried to stay out of my desk as much as possible, but it was unavoidable, or I was in there sometime, and my boss's office was across the hall, and until I moved my desk I could actually see his desk from my desk because his office was like a giant glass wall, so he could look out and he'd see me, and I'd be sitting at my desk doing some paperwork at like 6:30 in the frickin' morning, like one eye open because I just got off the train. I got a fucking 36-ounce cup of coffee in front of me, and I'm filling out receipts from the night before or whatever, and you done messed up, hey Ron. I'm like, I'm not even awake yet.
stop. Balake.
Yeah, and I would whatever, Balake.
Yeah.
And
That's still a great.
he'd crack up and he'd be sitting at his desk just rolling, and meanwhile I'm trying to clean up all the coffee because he waited till I was going to take a drink before he yelled it, and I'm like, son of a bitch. But yeah, like I said, I still get it periodically now, but not quite so much.
I don't know if you ever saw this one. If you ever want to get a good laugh, I don't know if you ever watched Bobby Possum Cobb or something like that. With
I think I've seen some clips.
yeah, well, they got one where they do one on methamphetamine. Oh, and it's like, man, this is made from all natural ingredients. I don't care what they say. This is good for you. And it's like, it says one thing. It says it helps heighten your senses, and it shows them like sitting there and like sniffing a donkey's butt while it farts in his face and shit. Like, oh, I still laugh at that one today. It's freaking hilarious. The methamphetamine.
I'll have to check it out. But
Oh yeah.
sounds like something I will enjoy.
Oh, you'll see it. You'll definitely laugh your ass off at it. So I ain't gonna try to. I guess we're gonna have to wrap this up.
Yeah, well,
Mi-
coming up on.
Mrs. A. Ron gonna.
Oh yeah,
Be mad. I still got to go put air conditioning units in the window.
Mrs. Iceman's gonna be mad.
She was in there coloring in her adult coloring book.
Yeah, I actually, maybe I'll go find my colored. I got an adult coloring book myself.
I just can't do it.
Well, I got it. They were doing a because last year in the mostly peaceful protests up in Wisconsin.
Yes,
that's my hometown, and that's where I is from. And they one of the groups that was doing like recovery efforts made a they do it every year. They do a coloring book for a bunch of local businesses. They decided to donate the proceeds to helping fix all the businesses and homes and shit they got this. Yeah, well, yeah, well, like part of it went to like I actually watched a video of one guy who got his ass beat by a bunch of peaceful protesters because he was trying to put out the fire they lit in his building, and and I'm sure they were out of town people because they thought they were torching a storefront because they were, but the thing is, this is a storefront that was built back in the 1920s, and the whole second floor was housing. Jesus. So yeah, so this guy was down there trying to put out the fire, and like 4 peaceful protesters beat the shit out of the guy. So like he was getting part of the funds from it. So I bought one of the coloring books so I could feel like I did some good, and I got a coloring book.
We just don't get that in certain states. Like,
yeah,
because you do that shit down here, you're probably gonna get shot. I'm sorry to say, I'm not trying to be mean. I mean, we're an open carry state, and most people in here have guns. That's why you don't hear a lot of I mean, you don't hear a lot of like kick-ins and stuff like that, or carjackings and stuff, because most people around here have guns in their cars too, which is not illegal. And you do that.
Most people around there know how to use them.
Yeah, you do that around here, and you got people that's probably been wanting to shoot somebody for most of their life, and they're prepared for it. I mean, in my personal car, I carry a Judge in there. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. You don't want to get shot by it.
Judge is awesome. I want one.
So, I mean, in Louisiana, I mean, as long as you're not a convicted felon, you can have a gun in your car anywhere you want. In a glove compartment. They mount them. It's not illegal because your car is considered an extension of your home. So,
yeah, I remember the first time I had to run and grab something out of my uncle's truck, and it was like, okay, glove compartment. Okay, there's a 1911. There we go.
Yeah. It's just not illegal here. I mean, it's just, but in states like here, you don't hear about a lot of carjackings. It happens every now and then, but not a lot. You don't hear about kicking break-ins or like forcing just themselves into someone's home. I mean, good luck, because when I go to my door or hear a noise, I have guns planted around my house that you don't know where they're at. So,
yeah, that's one of those things I never really understood about how things got to the level they did in Wisconsin, because I mean, I know I've been gone for a while and shit has changed, I'm sure, but like when I lived there, I had a 12 gauge that was next to the door on my apartment because I did not live in the best neighborhood. And occasionally I'd been known to answer it with the 12 gauge. And like, can I help you? It's a blizzard outside and you're on my porch at 2 a.m. Do you have a car problem? No, man, I just got a score. You got the wrong house. Get off my porch. And
I answer my door especially with a gun in my hand. So it happens out here, and it's just not. People aren't going like Sheriff Grady in Florida. Look him up. I love this man.
Yeah, Sheriff Grady is. I can respect when he said, "Do not do that shit here," because I mean, basically he said, "Fuck around and find out."
Yeah.
And,
but I mean, we have bad areas: Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Shreveport. We very high murder rates. But go out to the other parts, and if you look around, I'm not trying to extend it. I can ramble on forever. A lot of these big cities, New York, places in California, even in Chicago, stuff that has really, really strict gun laws. Their crime rate is through the fucking roof. Places that don't have strict gun laws, the crime rate ain't quite as high at all. It
Yeah.
don't take a rocket science to figure that out.
Yeah, well, that was actually, just, I know we should probably start wrapping things up, but just in a little funny side note, when we were having our, again, mostly peaceful protests up in Chicago here, like you said, I'm far enough away where I don't directly have to deal with much of that shit. But when it was going on, and some upstanding honor student that was being interviewed on one of the news channels made a statement to the reporter, said, "Yeah, well, we're pretty much done around here. We come into the suburbs next."
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because it was, to me, it was a really good example of how Chicago is really disconnected from how the rest of the state feels about Chicago. Because he said that shit on the news with full confidence, like it was going to go well. Like, yeah, we're done looting in downtown because there's nothing left. So we come into the suburbs, we're gonna get some nice shit. And like the night where they said that and put it on the news, I I was furloughed at the time, so I didn't have nothing better to do. I went and sat out on my front porch all night, and I had a couple little party favors with me just in case things did happen to get stupid. And I had one handgun and one shotgun. Just, a little rock salt will deter somebody if they don't,
Rock salt. Yeah,
Yeah.
I ain't shooting you after. If I'm shooting, if I got the bitch with me, my 12 gauge, the only thing that's coming out of there's only one or two things coming out of there: double aught buck, or if we feel it really frisky, I'm gonna hit you with a slug.
Yeah.
Anybody don't know what a 12 gauge slug looks like? Look it up. And when for my old SWAT team days, I'm pretty accurate with this with a 12 gauge shotgun, and I can put that slug dead center of your chest at 50 yards away from me with a shotgun. So it, you're not going to get up. I'm sorry, because you're going to have a big ass hole in your chest all the way through when that slug hits you.
Yeah, that's very true. But
There's no wounded. Or I'll pull my AR out. Or if we feel enough frisky, I also have an AK. We can we can try that out. Or I have some
yeah,
other rifles, and I'm a cold country boy from Louisiana. Most of us down here are pretty well armed with lots of ammo.
yeah. Well, no, I mean, it was like I said. I was the rock salt is out of consideration to my neighbors because I don't have they're very close and I don't want to accidentally damage their property. But on the other hand, I also had a 9mm and a 44 with me too. So if the shotgun didn't scare them, they still weren't getting in my house. But it was funny to me though because I was kind of like, well, here I got a pitcher of tea. I'm gonna lean this up against the wall here, and I'm gonna sit on the porch and I'm gonna dick around on my phone and wait and see if they are actually as stupid as they think they are. And I kind of looked down my street and I saw a lot of porch lights on that normally people went to bed fairly early that night. And I saw a lot of feet kicked up on porch rails and stuff. And I was like, huh, seems like this is a pretty unified thought in my neighborhood.
I might have had to put a sign out from my yard. Hotel California, looters welcome.
Yeah.
What happens at Hotel California? You check
Check
in,
out.
but you can never check out.
Yep.
You can come on, come meet me.
Yeah, I got I think my dad's got one of those little tin signs that says, "We don't call 911 and we have a backhoe."
Yeah,
Like,
trespassers will be shot. Survivors will be shot again.
yeah,
I
pretty
got
much.
I got a sticker on my sticker on my door of my house. It says nothing inside of here is worth you dying for.
Yeah, actually, I got the same one. So nothing in this house this is worth dying for.
Yeah,
And sadly enough, that's pretty much accurate.
because if you break into my house, I guarantee you, I'm not gonna say a word. I'm gonna shoot you, and
Oh yeah,
then I'm gonna call the cops to come get your body out of my house. There's no warning shots. I'm not gonna say get out. I'm gonna blast you, and then I'm gonna call the cops. to get your
Pretty
body
much.
out of my house. It's like, okay, you know what's going to happen? They're not going to arrest me because
Nope.
you're in my house where you weren't welcome. I'm defending myself and my family. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one. That's
I have 5 dogs. I have 5 big dogs. They might not. They'll probably bite you too. I have 5 Great Danes. So after you get past my dogs, and if you're lucky to get to me, you'll probably be hollering for my help. So, but they're definitely gonna wake me up.
yeah, that's my dog is half shepherd, half corgi. So she's not real intimidating, but she sounds fucking huge. So and she's kind of a coward, but she'll wake me up. So that
It's like my dogs. They'll make you think they're gonna bite you. But they're Great Danes. They're gentle giants. They're pretty much. I'm not saying they won't bite you. I seen one of them tried to bite somebody before. So not saying they won't bite you, but they're loud as. And my wife, she's a very like a gnat farts next to her head and she wakes up. So
yeah, I can. Yeah.
all right, we still going. We got to lock it up.
Yeah. All right. Well, just you want to do real quick and little just shout out again where to find you. And
yeah. Iceman, Motorcop Chronicles podcast. I'm on all the podcast platforms. If you happen to listen to me on Apple, give me a 5-star review. Write me a review. I'll read it on one of the podcasts. It helps with the algorithm. You can always check me out on Facebook, same name, Motorcop Chronicles podcast, or on YouTube. Got Twitter, not real active on, I'm not going to lie. If you want to get in touch with me, the best way to do is email me. I'm usually pretty quick on getting back to you. If you're a first responder or anything, you want to be a guest, let me know. Or if you just have a story you want me to read with my great articulate Southern accent, because I know I sound like a country hick. I can't help it. Let me know. I'll read it too. Just hit me up on email. I got stickers and stuff I'll mail to you, but you got to email me. So just come check me out over there twice a week.
yep. All right, cool. Well, thanks for sitting down and talking with me. And
Oh, I enjoy it.
me too.
So
yeah, hadn't noticed.
Tell them about your stuff.
My stuff. I in the name of streamline it, because Lord knows I can't talk properly sometimes. Everything is at ihadtosayitpodcast.com. It'll give you links to merchandise anywhere you can find the show, all the platforms, or you can just type in I Had to Say It on any podcatcher, and I should be the first thing that comes up, although sometimes it's some weird-ass song I have never heard of if you put it in Spotify. But, yeah, other than that, like I said, I had to say it podcast.com. It's got links to everything, reviews of shows, other cool stuff I think people should check out. And, that's about it for me.
All right. Well, I enjoyed it. We'll have to do it again. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
and, cool.
Until next time.
Okay, and thanks for listening, everybody, and that's what we had to say. Thanks for listening to another episode of I Had to Say It. If you liked what you heard, leave a review, give us a follow, give me some feedback. And if you didn't like what you heard, leave a review, give me a follow, give me some feedback. I'll try and fix it. Check us out on all the social media platforms at I Had to Say It Podcast is the trigger for all that stuff, for the search term. And if you want, check out the website, www.ihadtosayitpodcast.com. There's links to people that have been involved with the program, things I've talked about. There are some links available for some merch that we're working on, and there are ways to contact us there as well. And thanks for listening, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.